Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. With your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Friday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick with you. Busy day today. U.S. Steel was probably the big news of the morning. They lowered their guidance and cut their dividend yesterday, so we'll talk about that we're weighing on that stock this morning. A couple earnings on our radar: Nike, BlackBerry, CarMax, Winnebago. But the U.S. Steel news is the big news. We also got a buyback in Biogen. Today is also a quad of which. Don't forget that. We'll get through all those topics, some ratings, and we'll be joined by one, maybe two guests today. Our main guest will be at 8:35. That'll be Alan Brochstein. He'll talk pod stocks with us, and also he'll hang out with us towards the end of the show. We'll do a little hot potato. We'll do Joel and Dennis against Alan Brochstein, and then hopefully at like 8:25 we can bring in our own CEO Jason Raznick. He is positively giddy about Tesla. So if he's around, we'll grab him. Joel, what's the word here overnight?
In the green here, we are up 2.25 handles at 32.14. That is a new all-time high. One tick off the high. 0850 overnight. Really not much there. I was trying to buy it a little bit of cheaper than that, but that's your pre-market low. So no downside until we take that out. 6 handles away. Crude down 19 cents at 60.99. Gold down $1.30 at 14.83.10. Silver in the red by a little bit less than a penny at 17.14.5. Bitcoin futures up $20 at 7,185.
What's up, Dennis? Good morning.
Did we lose Dennis?
No, he's just on mute. He muted himself.
Mutes me, and then I have to go try to quickly find the unmute button. He doesn't like me to talk during the intro, and he knows I never stop talking, so he has to mute me.
I did not mute you.
We see your
You do mute me. He mutes me every morning before the show starts. He mutes me.
And then
because he's scared I'm going to talk through the intro, and I probably would. I probably would.
Yourself, okay?
Can you?
I can unmute myself, but I just forget to.
Yvonne.
So we're blaming that one on Spencer.
She posted my new Peloton.
No, I'm not taking blame for that.
Do you have a picture of your? Did you take a picture of it?
Yeah, it's.
Can you show it?
Yeah.
Oh God! All right.
I want to see. Did you see Jeremy Newsom's Peloton?
All right.
Wait. Okay, we got to compare Pelotons here.
All right. There's Joel's Peloton right there. It's up.
This is this is Joel's Peloton. You can't see the bottom of it.
Yeah, move it up a little bit.
Oh, that's horrible. Like we'll minimize it or something. You can't see it. It looks just like a TV.
That's the point.
No, but
you can't see the bike though.
All right,
show the lower part.
Here, my bad.
There you go. Hey, there's Joel's Peloton, sent to him by Jeremy Newsom.
Yeah.
Did Jeremy get one, or is he just joking?
I tell you, that's what it is. It's a little nicer version looking of that. Anyways, with that being said, we've talked Peloton before. The 30, that's the level. We know if you're long it right now, you need to hold 29.86. Hold on to that. There's hope.
Yeah.
Go through 29.86 and treble ahead. That's the level for PTON.
Going to 29.85.
Yeah, that's a nice one, Jeremy. I like your Peloton there.
That wasn't Jeremy. That was Yvonne sent that.
Oh, is it Yvonne?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Jeremy. Oh, Yvonne did that because I saw Jeremy tweet it.
Oh, the same thing. Oh, okay. I'm fine.
I think Jeremy put that together.
Okay.
I saw that tweet last night from Jeremy Newsom, so I'm just trying to figure out where it came from, but originally, or if Jeremy made that up. It's a good one. All right, we got to jump into stocks here. U.S. Steel, disaster stock of the day. Last night they tried to sneak this in around 7:00 at night. Didn't sneak by anybody. Spencer, this is not good news.
Late yesterday, they issued some guidance and they cut their dividends. So the new Q4 adjusted EBITDA lost $25 million. They lowered their adjusted EPS from to $1.15 loss for the current quarter versus a 59-cent loss estimate. And
good at losing money.
Dividend was lowered from 5 cents a share to 1 cent a share. So still technically offering a dividend, but not really.
Good at losing money. This is a disaster. I'm not coming in here and buying this. I mean, you do have a number here. 1252 was your low of the move. This is back on the 29th of November. You could think about a 50% retracement, but the news is so bad that I'd be scared. It's sometimes you can look at technicals and you can say, okay, well, you got a good level here. And then sometimes the fundamentals are just so bad, you got to just say, let's let this simmer a little bit and just see where, real people want, or like where the price discovery wants to take this thing. Because it didn't really trade that much last night. It's traded 364,000 shares this morning. You can bet this is going to trade millions and millions of shares when the market opens after 9:30. There's going to be a lot of people who are probably, a lot of institutional traders who are probably like, whoa, this is not good. And if they were playing it for a little bounce trade here, not being rewarded here overnight. It is down. It's 1260. It's holding up fairly well considering how bad the news is. That's the one good thing. But I would say if I'm just giving the level it needs to hold is 1252. But below 1252, it's a slippery slope.
Surprise is not down more. It's down 7.
I am too, which is good news. It could this be like a Boeing situation where the news is really bad, but maybe was expected. I don't think this U.S. deal with the news is expected at all, though, is the problem. So people were thinking, oh, this is kind of a little bit of a recovery story here. A stock has bounced obviously from $10, got over 14. Now you come in, it's like, okay, they're going to lose a pile of money here and they're cutting the dividend. This just does not sound good whatsoever.
Technically gap fill. You had a bump up in the beginning of November on earnings reports. So you got a gap between 12 and a quarter, 11.99. So $12 fills the gap. That's still 55 cents away, but that's what I would look at it maybe today or the next couple days. And then also, I mean, you think, and I this is just a pure speculation, but like, how long can this company survive with these kind of numbers? You know what I mean?
Well, it's been losing money for a long. When is the last, like, have they made money? Like in the last, it seems like they always lose money.
Weren't the tariffs supposed to?
When is the last time you guys still made money?
I will tell you, in the trusty Benzinga Pro.
Maybe they do. Maybe it's selective perception on my part.
Yeah, it is. They made money this year. I mean,
they made money overall this year.
Yeah, they made money in the second quarter and the first quarter.
How much money? 1 cent?
45 cents per share.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, 47 the quarter before that.
Well, that's not bad.
I mean, they're making less than they were making.
But now they're going to lose $1 or something?
Even a year ago. They only lost money this past quarter. Their most recent earnings report.
All right. So a little bit of selective perception on my part. With that being said, they are projecting themselves to lose a pile of money here in the next quarter or next year.
This is for the current quarter. So their next.
So the current quarter is a mess. Do they cite a reason?
Oh, I didn't actually look that closely. I'm sure
we didn't look that closely. That doesn't matter. In any regard here, it's not good news. So we'll see what it does. Can the 1252 hold up? That is the question. We do not have the answer yet. I am not going to bank on that. So in some cases, I like to come and bottom fish near those old levels. In this case, the news is just so bad that the dividend cut, I'm not touching it.
How are the other steel stocks? Were you able to?
A little bit. There's a little reaction here, but not really. Nucor's bid up. So, and Nucor, I've said this forever. Nucor, I still believe is best of breed, but Nucor has a bid here right now, believe it or not. 56.60, 5,000 shares are saying that this is not going lower, and that is surprising to me. So there's 5,000 shares bid there. AKS is down slightly. MT, which traded overseas, obviously already, only down slightly. So there's doesn't seem to be a lot of sympathy here happening. So maybe it's just specific to X. At least the market is pricing in like it's specific to X.
Okay. All right. That's a look at steel stocks.
Continuing on our merry parade here. We did get a couple of earnings, and the big one from last night is the shoemaker, the Nikester. Nike reported. Joel already said in the chat what I was going to say. I don't know what I was going to say, but he predicted what I was going to say. Anyways, give us the results here, Spencer.
Yeah, I always liked Under Armour better anyway. Nike yesterday earnings, Q2 EPS 70 cents versus a 57-cent estimate, so beat there. Sales 10.33 versus 10.07 billion dollars, so a beat and a beat. Sales in Greater China, which is a key market for them, up 23% year over year. They talked about the trade war and all that jazz, but it was a good report overall.
Well, and Joel said this in the chat, what I'm going to say today. I said this yesterday, so obviously Joel knows what I was going to say because I said it yesterday. I said they need to blow it away for it to go higher because the stock has been running. They did not blow it away to go higher, and that is why the stock is trading down $1.50. So I said this yesterday ahead of the print, and obviously was right about it because the stock had pretty good numbers. I actually got bought a bit on the initial headline. News algos, they're good at losing money on those initial headlines. And the stock is now trading in the red. If you're looking in the book, the book 102, 80,000 shares at 102. So if for whatever reason they decide to turn around and start buying this, that would be the first level of major resistance in the book. 80,000 shares at 102. That's big.
And I mean, a 13-cent beat is not bad, and a beat on sales too. And China
straight up into the quarter.
Yeah, Greater China sales up 23% year over year.
Good numbers.
Good numbers. But
it shows you again the sentiment towards the stock, the bar that the stock sets matters sometimes more than the numbers itself. And when you're running up, and we've run up, this was $91 a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, beginning of December, $91, 101. It ran up 10% in the last week. So they're expecting very, very, very good quarter. They got very, very good quarter. It wasn't even enough. So a lot of times, if you're just buying, news algos, hey, the guys who are programming these things, throw that factor in there. Has the stock run up? Because don't buy every beat. You buy every beat, it's a good way to lose money because sometimes a beat is not good enough if the stock's been running up. If the stock was in the gutter and still sitting around $91, not going anywhere, and these numbers came out, it would probably be trading up 10 points, 5 points anyways. So sentiment matters. And the bar was set high.
If you would have known the 90,000 was there at 102, you probably wouldn't have bought it up to 102.75.
And that's another thing. Yeah, exactly. Look in your book. This is information publicly available to you.
Volume. Woo. Look at that.
Only thing though is Nike knew it was going to trade some volume, so it could, if it was a really, really good quarter, which it kind of was, and they thought it could have blew through that 102. It wasn't like 80,000 shares couldn't hold it down. But as soon as it starts to look like, starts to turn at that point, it's like, okay, now you got a seller up, here where we can lean on that. It probably was the call to, obviously try to short it up there. I did not play it because I looked at those numbers and I'm like, I don't love shorting into, a really good report because maybe it does just continue to go. And those numbers were pretty good. I looked at on the headline numbers like beat. I was like, well, I'm not surprised it's trading up a little bit. It's a really good quarter. But I'm also not surprised it gave it back just because the expectations were so high.
If it's going to rally, it's going to rally from here. Throw out the high, throw out the low, 102.75. I don't know. We'll throw out the low too here since it's creeping back up. Your low was at 98 even. So those are some wide parameters. But I'm just looking at the trading action from the last 2 days. Last two lows are right here at 99.58, 99.63. You're hanging in 99.70. So, if you think, it's a good report, they're punishing it unnecessarily here. You're opening into a pair of lows. The only thing is really nowhere to hide. 99 was your 3-day low. So there's a couple levels if you're looking to buy Nike here on the upside. It could rip higher. All-time high and all-time closing higher up there, 101.15, 101.27. So that's a couple bucks away. I think some people, after seeing it trade low, might reload at 100.
And you look at this and you're seeing down 99.60 and you think it's still a pretty good quarter. I don't think this is one that's going to cascade down $5 on these numbers. No. It's a little bit of, profit taking, a little bit of, maybe the quarter wasn't good enough. Let it, simmer. But if it starts to get back up and starts to take out yesterday's high, then, if it takes out the 102, then it looks interesting. So I don't know if I'm coming in and buying the pullback here. I'll probably let it just simmer and I'll probably just be hands off. But I could see how I don't think this thing's going down to 96 or 97. I could see how it could get back up to 101. So if you were looking at me and saying buy or sell, I would say buy. But that's just, but I'm not convicted enough to actually do it myself here. So that's just my opinion. Next.
We can stick with the earnings or go to
do those couple earnings there. I mean, we got CarMax, and this one's interesting. Somebody had this one dead wrong last night. They were buying this thing hand over fist ahead of the report last night. This thing traded up to almost 102, almost $3 higher ahead of the report last night. Now it's down $3. So the 102 buyer, congratulations, you just lost 7 points. KMX, give us the numbers.
From yesterday, from this morning, Q3 EPS $1.04 versus $1.15. Sales 4.79 billion versus 4.67 billion. So a EPS miss. Sales beat. Comms for used cars up 7.5%.
Somebody really thought that they were going to blow it away to be buying it up like that. Do you see all that after? A lot of volume, Joel. Do you see the after hours?
Well, it actually printed 103, Dennis.
It went all the way to 103.
Yeah.
Look at how many shares traded up there though. This wasn't like 100 shares. It probably traded 5,000 to 10,000 shares up there.
Yep.
Like in the one between 101 and 103. And this was last night ahead of the report. This wasn't on the numbers. This was last night before the report. Somebody was just like, I'm like, who's buying this? I was looking at this and I was like, who's paying up $3 ahead of the report? I'm like, they gotta know something. They must know something. Well, they didn't know anything. And they were buying it, and it was a flat out miss. And obviously, they threw a lot of money away. So the people who bought 98.79 at the close are throwing money away. The people who were buying at 103 last night, 4 points higher ahead of the report, really knew nothing. Stock's trading down.
It is, and it's been lower. Went to 92.31 or 92.33. So there's a nice range there. But I'm looking at this parallels here at 94. See what happens. We're already back in the 95 handle. So if it came down to 94.01 or 94.19, that area, that looks like pretty good support. Also some lows just under that. That's $1.14 away. If it goes into rally mode, 97.26 is the bottom of yesterday's range. So keep an eye on that if it goes into a $2 rip rally mode.
Winnebago, WGO, trading up. Spencer, how did we do?
Yeah, wasn't this like an indicator that we made up for a while? Like
what was the indicator?
I don't, because like a year or two ago, whenever they had their big run,
it's been hot. These Winnebagos are back in style though, aren't they, Joel? Like you think they got out of style there for a bit, but you see these big things flying down the freeway every once in a while now. They're kind of cool again. If they're going to come out, if I wonder if they're going to come out with an electric one. Wouldn't that be cool? An electric Winnebago? Musk, come out with an electric Winnebago.
I just want to take one to a Michigan football game once.
They look fun. Yeah. They look fun. At a football game, they got to be fun, right? Tailgating, Winnebago, got to be fun.
Well, all right, here are the numbers from this morning, or about an hour or so ago. Q1 EPS 73 cents versus 57 cents. That's a beat. Sales also beat 588 versus $538 million. Beat and a beat for WGO.
And the reason we say they're back is because this stock sat in the gutter for a decade. We were down there around $20 forever. Finally, in 2017, it blasts off into orbit and goes from 20 all the way up to a high of $58.65. And then in 2018, they decide, no, they were wrong. They bring it all the way back down to $20 again. Well, you know what? Don't call it out because it's right back up here at 50 and you're trading up over $50 here. I got to go look in the book just because it's such a big psychological number just to make sure there's nothing kicking around at 50. Joel, what are your technical thoughts? While I open there's nothing at 50.
Nah, it spiked up to 51. So we'll use that as a target. It's just been kind of quiet lately. What's this May high? That's way up. The October high is way up at 51.87. So they really want to take this thing. I don't know. It had a big rally. Maybe it was off its last report. No, end of October, maybe. Consolidation. I don't know. I mean, if a great target would be 51.87, and that was your high on October 28th. And on the downside here, boy, it had been tight. 49. If you could pick it up at 49, that would fill the gap. You had two highs in a row. 48.95, 48.90. Let's see if old resistance becomes new support.
And then one other report there to cover from last night. And actually, is it out yet? Carnival's due, right? I said it yesterday, but I meant today.
I thought you were going BlackBerry here.
Yeah.
Do they get coverage?
Coverage.
And they're going to throw me out of Canada for that. The good Waterloo company. Anyways, okay, sure. We'll give BB some love. Give Canada some love. I always say we only have one good tech company. It's Shopify, and we used to have one with
top stock on my gainer filter this morning. I filter.
All right, give BB some love.
It's the top stock that's above $5 a share.
Did they make or lose a penny?
Oh, you're close. They made 3 pennies.
3
last quarter,
pennies.
which
3
beat
pennies.
the estimate of 2
3
pennies.
times higher than I thought. I was guessing a penny. 3 pennies.
Yeah, it was
Did
above.
you know in Canada the penny doesn't exist anymore? Did you know we got rid of the penny? Happy Canadian trivia for you here. We got rid of the penny about 5 years ago. The penny does not exist. We round in Canada now. So if it comes out and the math takes it to 2002, it's $20. If the math takes it to 2003, it's 2005.
That's a good idea.
We round. The only time you use the pennies is if you're playing with debit or a MasterCard, then they can do this, the pennies. But the physical penny is now no longer in existence or no longer being printed. There's still some of them, obviously.
So is a penny more valuable than a penny?
It should be, because eventually it's going to be none of them around as everybody gets rid of them. So eventually maybe it's going to be a collector's item. But yeah, just get rid of that loose change. So we trade nickels now. We don't trade pennies anymore.
I see a alternative investment right there. Okay, BlackBerry Q3
Fun
EPS.
Canadian fact for you.
They beat on their EPS estimate, and they also beat on their sales. So good for them.
Stock train up 8%. It's a party here for BlackBerry temporarily. You know what? It's consolidated enough where there's room here. Kind of like the Rite Aid trade from the other day. We said Rite Aid when it was trading up in the 10 handle. I was like, I'm not shorting it because this thing's thin. And, it's been, a dog forever, and dogs can continue to bark after an okay quarter. So I'm not going to come here and say short at 626. I think long term, it's probably still lower, but short term, they could squeeze them a bit. And if you get above, I'm sure, Joel, I'll take your piece. You get above that 637 high. That's the level, 637. Because then you're in a gap. So you know what? I'm hands off on this one.
Yeah, it usually moves more off the report. And actually, Dennis, I got a bunch of Canadian change in my car. I got to get.
If they're pennies, they're worthless.
The next time you come over.
Yeah, you can. I think you can still take them to the bank and get your money's worth. If you roll them all up, roll your 50 pennies and they'll give you 50 cents.
Yeah, I went to the Coinstar, dumped like, I don't know how much change in there, and then it kicks out all the Canadian money, and I put it in a bag, and I'm going to give it to you. So that's going to be my Christmas gift to you. But
excellent. I love change.
Actually,
my boy would take that. The 5-year-old is right into all change and money, anything currency. He's right into it. Probably gets that from me.
Okay. All right. We'll use that. Enough time on BlackBerry.
Carnival not out.
What's
yet.
the all-time high, Dennis, in BlackBerry?
I'm gonna guess. This is just a guess, not looking at the charts. I'm gonna guess. I think it was over $100. I'm gonna guess 140. I don't know why that number's popping in my head.
Pretty good.
What was it?
148.13.
Man, I'm good. 140. I threw that at 148. So it's $6 with the person who bought at 148. Sorry, you're not getting your money back. No. Next. Congratulations to the person who bought at 581 yesterday, though. Next.
That's it. Let's for the earnings. Let's go to Biogen here.
You know when it peaked, when BlackBerry peaked? When I bought an iPhone.
Well, that was it. Apple.
It
was all about BlackBerry. We all had our BBM Messenger, and you had the little keyboard. iPhone came out, and that was it for BlackBerry. That was the beginning of the end. They tried to compete, but when Apple comes and totally attacks your market, trouble brews.
Well,
and that was the time. You're right. As soon as you saw how awesome those Apple iPhones were, you're getting the hell out of BlackBerry. That was the tell.
I was the first one in the family to buy it, an iPhone, and this is a while ago.
You were one of the first? You're usually one of the last.
In my family.
Wow.
In my family.
Okay.
Dana, Emily, and I, and it was a pain in the butt. I couldn't figure it out. So I returned it. I actually returned the first iPhone, and I got a black.
I can't find the keyboard, Joel says. Where's the keyboard? There's no key. Mine's missing a keyboard. That's what Joel was saying.
And I had BlackBerry for another year, and then Dana, Emily, and Lisa all got iPhones, and then they basically.
Then they showed you where the keyboard was.
Exactly.
You got to flip it up from the bottom, and all of a sudden there's a keyboard there. Yay!
What happens?
I remember when I first bought my first iPhone. That was my first question too. I was like, "Well, what the hell? There's no keyboard." They're like, "Watch this. Flip up from the bottom." So the guy should have just showed you. Flip up from the bottom. Oh, there's a keyboard. It's cool. I thought it was cool. I remember even Chris, my buddy Chris Banny, sitting beside him and beside me. He's always one of the first to buy all the cool tech gadgets, and he was showing me that thing. I was like, "That is awesome." Should have just went and sold short a bazillion shares of BlackBerry that day and bought a bazillion shares of Apple and retired.
Exactly.
If you see those gadgets that come from Apple and they're like, "That is awesome," buy.
Look what works. When I bought the watch too. I bought the watch. My birthday was on October 5th,
Is the watch awesome though compared to like the iPhone? I don't have a watch.
It's okay. It's okay.
Do you
I
see
mean,
yourself like talking on your watch, like holding it
do.
up?
I do.
Hold it up to your now what do? You hold it up like this and
Yeah. I like that not carrying my phone. I mean, I've been using it in the pool a little bit. It's okay in the pool. I just have other watches I like too. So I'm not always gonna wear that thing, but I like having it so I don't have to take my phone with me. So I don't have to lose my phone.
But can you make calls on it? On your watch?
Of course. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But then everybody can hear your call, right? Because it's like way down there. So it's like a
I don't
speakerphone.
care. I don't know. I mean, who's
Joel
calling?
likes to share his conversations.
All right, let's move. Let's talk stocks here. And no, we didn't talk Tesla.
We're going to Biogen.
Yeah,
Tesla's coming. We're saving Tesla for Jason Raznick. We're gonna get the Raz is coming on the show today, and we're gonna save Tesla for Raz.
Excited. All right, Biogen here. In the meantime, announced yesterday a $5 billion buyback, and this is interesting. Dennis noted this in the pre-market show, just because of the timing. We know next year we're getting some news about their Alzheimer's drug. We don't know what we're going to get, but a big buyback ahead of that is interesting.
Well, and they've announced it, so we don't know when they're going to buy back.
Right.
I took your joke away from me here already, Joel. But $5 billion announced a buyback. It would be interesting. So this is just the time it's interesting because we know they're going to have the big ruling eventually next year on whether there's Alzheimer's drug. And we know it's sitting with about 80 to 90 points of hope. We'll call it the hope trade. If for whatever reason the Alzheimer's drug does not get FDA approval, you're probably going to see this thing fall 60, 70 points. So if you're Biogen and you're announcing a buyback and you're coming in and buying the stock, let's say next week or next month ahead of this, you're basically saying that we think it's getting approval because after, unless they're going to wait, maybe they're going to wait until they get that ruling. Did they say anything about? They don't ever say about the timing. They just announce the buyback. So they got some money. They're going to do a buyback. I mean, if they're doing it before that. Before the ruling on whether they're going to, get approval on this or not, then they're gambling that this drug's getting approved because otherwise it's going to come at a 20% discount and the buyback's going to look terrible. So it's interesting. I am still a Biogen shareholder. I bought it at $49 back just after the financial crisis. I'm sticking with it. But again, I'm somewhat concerned and skeptical that this drug gets approved. Obviously, because we've never had an Alzheimer's drug.
What's it getting approved for, though? Is it getting approved for plaque? Is it getting approved for Alzheimer's? I mean, I'm really
well. It's supposed to. I believe, and I'm definitely not the biotech expert here, but I believe it is. With reduction of plaque, is it not, Spencer? Ask the Brentster. He knows. I know it's an Alzheimer's drug. I believe it is something to do with plaque. I believe you're correct, Joel.
Okay. That's why it's just a little confusing to me.
But I'm not 100% on that. So if anybody in the chat knows, in any regard here, they believe they've thrown it to the FDA. We're waiting to see if it gets approved. Never has there been an Alzheimer's drug approved. If this was to get approved, I think the stock is $500.
But it's not. But it's not an Alzheimer's drug now. It's a plaque drug.
No. But that is that's to try to help with that.
But it's a treatment for Alzheimer's. It's not.
There's never been any drug to help with this. So, and I think it's the reduction of plaque which would help through. I'm not sure, with the specifics. I'm a stock trader. I'm not a biotech analyst. Okay. So all I need to know, and this is what people do. This is a good conversation here before we get Alan on. So many traders get down and they really analyze all the little specific details, to a ridiculous level. Kramer used to say, do your homework. Do your homework. Just understand that there's a drug out there. You don't have to understand every little thing about it to trade the stock. What you need to understand is there's a potential drug out here that will take the stock, if it gets approved, will take the stock probably up 200 points or drop the stock 70 to 80 points. So that's, what it is. And that's the trade-off. I think the odds are stacked against it. And that's why you're going to probably see, a skew where, 80 points down, 200 points up. You think, oh, 50-50 shot. It's not a 50-50 shot, though. I think it's like a 15-20% shot that this thing gets approved. So I actually think the trade, if you were just flat out gambling, it's probably better odds as a short than a long. But if it gets approved, Kramer said it, it'd be one of the biggest drugs in history. There's never been an Alzheimer's drug. So that's, maybe I'm being light even at the 200. It might, and if it got approved, it might be like a $600 stock. Seriously, it would be just a huge stock, or a huge drug. But I don't think it gets approved either.
Little pop up 442 here, 493 at 402.51. Really, your only major resistance in this thing. What did you pop up to the other a few weeks back? All right, I see a pair of highs in the 304 handle. We'll call it 304.40 and then 309.06. But I don't think it's got the gas. And then the high of the move that was on the initial day. When the news came out that there was back a trial, went to 318. I think it even maybe traded 320 in the pre-market that day. But if you're looking for another target above here, just be aware there are pair of highs at 304.40, we'll call it. And then above that, 307 area looks interesting. But I don't know, a buyback. It's a vote of confidence in the company. Let's leave it at that.
Spinner, just before we go over, and we're obviously going to get to Tesla here. Is Jason here?
I think he'll join us after Alan.
After Alan?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, 8:35. We're going to get Alan Brochstein on to talk pot stocks. So just quickly, Spinner alerting us to this. Just at 8:15, TDG announces a $32.50 special dividend. It's a $500 stock, but still, that's a big dividend, $32.50. So typically, these stocks will trade up on that announcement. They don't trade up $32. But they typically, I trade these special dividends every once in a while. They're tricky. They usually trade up a third to a half of the value. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing trades up into the 580s here today. Actually, an odd lot just ticked at 583. But if you're wondering why TG, it's probably going to trade higher. And if you're wondering why, it announced a $32.50 special dividend. I guess there was a closure here. If I just read you from the press release, this is at 8:51 press release. TransDigm completes the divestiture of Suryo Sunbank and declares a $32.50 special dividend. So huge dividend. So I'd expect it to be in the 580s, maybe even up to 590 today.
What do they do? Are they a
Good
bank?
question.
I'm looking here. I'm trying to find out.
585 is going on that.
Yeah.
Just go to the quickest way when you don't know what
I'm
they
in
do.
the pro. They're an aerospace company. They
I didn't know that.
It's not showing that.
they are
So they divestiture of
they manufacture
Sunbank, Suryo Sunbank.
They manufacture supplies for military aircrafts and helicopters.
Whatever they do, they're doing it right. The stock has been pretty good for a long time. This was back at the beginning of 2019 was a $300 stock. Now it's a $575 stock. They're confident enough in their business to give you a $32.50 special dividend. Back in 2013, this was $134. All aerospace companies, so I'm not surprised. All aerospace companies have been unbelievable performers. I have one, the CAE. It's I believe it's Canadian actually. I bought this back like after the financial crisis at like $5 Canadian, which would be like $3.50 US. It's $26. I mean, some of these, aerospace have just been unbelievable. Lockheed Martin too, one that I never forgive myself. Back after the financial crisis, it got down like 62. I was like, I should buy some of that. It's $383. So when you think you should buy some of it, maybe you should buy some of it. I never did buy that one. So unbelievable. Aerospace companies in the last decade have been unbelievable. Next.
Well, it's
1 minute before Alan.
It's 8:34. So you want to do some quick imbalances before we bring Alan on?
Well, remember option expiration here today.
Oh, right.
What happens on option expiration, guys? Guys and girls, we always tell you about it. The opening imbalances don't mean very much. The only day they don't mean much. They can really push stocks around, but these things change so frequently. If you're looking at them at 8:34, they'll be completely different when you look at them at 8:44 and 8:54. At 9:29:59, they start to mean something. So, you can look at them at the last couple of seconds, but it's hard to get a real indicator. Right now, everything has a huge buy imbalance. But again, because there's so many institutionals that come in here jockeying the equities against their open option positions, you're going to see these things flip around and do some funny things. So this is always on options expiration. So I don't really put any weight in the pre-market imbalances on option expiration day. We'll put that in our book.
All right, 8:35, just about. Let's bring on our guest today, Alan Brochstein. He is also known as the 420 Investor. He's the author of 420 Investor, the founding partner of new Cannabis Ventures, probably one of, if not the best authority on cannabis stocks. There is Alan. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, no. Wait.
He's on mute. You
No,
gotta
he's
unmute him.
not. He's got his microphone open. I think it might be just a computer
He's figuring it out.
audio,
Alan will get this figured out.
trying to get his audio working. Yeah. So, I mean, we've done this before with him, so it should.
Oh yeah, he'll get it figured out.
Alan, can you hear me? See, he can hear us, but we can't hear him.
You're on mute still. Look in the corner, Alan. You might have to
No,
unmute it.
No, he's not. I can see him. It might be something to do with his
We
audio.
see Alan.
We see
Maybe
him.
we can read his lips. If he sits a little
Is that
higher, maybe we
working?
can read his
There you
lips.
go. Alan, we got you.
We'll read your
I'm
lips.
sorry about that.
There he is. There he
Good
is.
me.
Good morning.
I made great progress from last time. I just didn't make it to the finish line.
That's okay. We don't bring you on for your tech savviness. We bring you on for your pot savviness.
Hey,
So.
this old man's pretty tech savvy. I got it down, man.
All right, Alan, talk to us. Let's talk pot. You know what? Some of these stocks have stopped going down though, so which is interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at Canopy Growth. These things bottomed mid-November. They've had a pretty good little run here in the last month or two. Most of these things are significantly off the lows. Thoughts on the whole sector, first of all?
Yeah, well, you're a technical guy. Maybe you can help me on this. So I made a call that I had to say was wrong. I thought that mid-November was the low. And you correctly point out that some of the leading companies are continuing to hold those lows.
Yeah.
But not all of them. But if you look both in Canada and in the United States, the largest companies seem to have put in lows, but the rest of the market has put in new lows, which has brought the overall averages down. And, more stocks are down to bad breath, they say. And I think the issue may be a little bit of tax loss selling. The rest of the market's, having a really nice year, and we're having a really crappy year again. So I just, I did a webinar yesterday, and I can summarize it very quickly. I continue to be optimistic long-term, obviously. I think this is going to be a great story as it plays out over multiple years. But there's always potholes, and this year was full of them. And between Canada, the slow legalization there, not the right products and not enough stores, and the scandal at CanTrust. And then in the United States, just terrible rollouts in California, as well as Massachusetts, which probably not as big a deal, but also the vaping crisis, the capital crunch that's hit the whole sector. All these things have really shaken out a lot of the players. And so my outlook for next year is, it's not roaring bull, although, I could be surprised, I suppose. It's really, I think that the downturn that we're going through is actually really healthy for the industry. We've talked about a lot. There's way too many publicly traded companies, way too many companies. So it's going to engender consolidation and kind of a Darwinian process where some of the weaker players get shaken out. So I think we see that a little bit in the charts that we're talking about. The larger companies seem to be holding their lows, most of them. And then the smaller ones that don't have the same capitalization are going to have to really struggle to prove themselves.
Let's talk. I just want to go bring it into one of the weaker companies. The stock is still holding its low. I want to talk Aurora Cannabis just briefly here.
Just made a double bottom yesterday, right?
It's trying. Yeah, it's trying. There you go.
Fine.
Technicals. This guy's all over the technicals. On Tuesday, we had Gordon Johnson. We're going to have Gordon Johnson, I believe, on the show next week. Analyst Gordon Johnson coming out with sell rating on the stock and put a price target of 0.
Yeah.
He cited that this company is quickly running out of cash. I just want to talk to you because I feel like you are the expert in the sector. As Gordon Johnson's thesis hold water here? Is this a potential 0? Are they running out of cash? What are your thoughts?
I didn't read the report, first of all, so I'm reluctant to comment on it in total. I just want to just disclaim that because I didn't read it. But just the concept of them running out of cash, I mean, I think this is a problem that they are dealing with head on. That's why they accelerated those convertible notes. That put a lot of pressure on their stock. That's what that low, you're just looking at a day, but the other low kind of coincided with that whole process. It was pretty sloppy and really weighed on the whole sector. So that was, that's part of it. I guess when I look at Aurora and all of its large competitors, they all talk the same story about the United States being very important. And, I think Aurora's and Tilray are the weakest in terms of funding because Kronos and Canopy Growth have their strategic investors. And so both these companies need to raise cash to fund their U.S. operations. So in terms of running out of cash, I think the reality is they're not going to run out of cash. They have an ATM. They'll keep hitting it. They'll do other things. They have some assets they can monetize. There's a lot of things they can do. They won't run out of cash. I'm more concerned that they may have to slow down in the United States. But with that said, I think, we ought to all be very careful. These large LPs all talking about how they're going to do CBD from hemp in the US. And this whole sector is just terrible right now. There's a lot of state regulatory uncertainty, but most importantly, we're all waiting for the FDA, and the FDA is taking their sweet time, and it's not real clear what that path's going to look like. And, people are getting arrested not too far from Detroit in Iowa. CBD physical store owner was arrested and charged with a felony because they were selling CBD, which is regulated by the state of Iowa, and it can only be sold through exclusive, it's just all this regulatory confusion. And so that's what really concerns me, not so much about them running out of cash. I'm concerned that all these large LPs may need to slow down or rethink their US strategies.
Let's jump over to a couple other individual stocks there. And I want to go GW Pharma. It's a stock that actually it's kind of made its new lows there just in December 95, but it's been moving up since. The last week and a half has been pretty good for GW Pharma.
Yeah.
What's the outlook look like here?
I think what happened, it had 3 straight gaps up. You can probably point them out. They're pretty obvious. And those each came after the Epidiolex sales were reported in the regular quarterly earnings. First one was in March, and then in June, and then in September. This last one, the first one was for December. It was reported in February. There we go, right at the end of February. And this last time they reported was the gap down. And I think it's as simple as this. I mean, there's been a lot of short reports that don't seem to have any legs at all about the safety of Epidiolex. There are some liver toxicity issues in conjunction with other drugs. This is pretty common from what I understand in general for treating epilepsy. And there's no news there, but people are seizing on that. I think the real story is that, it's a one-trick pony still, although it's got some stuff, in the pipeline, but for all intents and purposes, it's Epidiolex. And in that last quarter, they only really met the expectations. And I think that shook out a lot of momentum biotech players, perhaps. And I think that's really it. There was some insider selling too by the founder, which didn't really help, I would imagine. But, if you look at a 5-year chart, it's actually matched. I just looked at this weekend. It's only matched the overall biotech index. XBI is the best one, I think. I don't know if you can do that overlay, but over the last 5 years, it's literally just matched it. And I think what was 5 years ago is 2014. And that was, that first year, that stock went from 8 to 80 or something 8 to over 80 in 2014. So it had a great first year and a half after its Nasdaq IPO. That was when, a year after weed came out with Sanjay Gupta extolling CBD. So I think, unfortunately, GW Pharma was too expensive 5 years ago if you're looking at charts. And that's why the last 5 years been flat. But more to the now, I really like it. I had moved to the sidelines on the name because of the weak technical performance. And I think there's some better deals in the more cannabis space, less biotech. But I added some back this week, actually.
What are those good deals? So when you're looking at, obviously the sector is all on sale here right now. What are the good deals that you think about?
Well, so look, I structured my model portfolios to have some big exposure to a couple of MSOs. I'll lay this trade out. I usually don't like to do this stuff, but hey, it's for you guys.
Yeah.
So two of the larger positions I have right now in the MSOs are Cresco and GTI. And it's more than this, but you were just talking earlier about, doing too much homework. If you do too much homework, you might not care. But these are the two companies that are best positioned in Illinois, which is legalizing in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. And if you really do the research, you'll find out that it's not going to be, the market's going from 200 million to 2 billion or something like that. But these companies aren't going to overnight, 10x their sales in Illinois. But these two are very well positioned in Illinois. So you have a headline catalyst, which I think could be positive. But the companies are much more than that. They're both operating close to cash flow break even, or depending on how you look at it, they're right there. And any sort of losses they have are related to growth, not their operation. So in this weak environment, these companies have some flexibility. They're not gonna, nobody's gonna be asking, are they going to zero because they're running out of money? That's the first thing. They're very big in the United States. They are in the top 5 in terms of MSOs and current sales. And if you start to look what's going to happen next year, the sales, even excluding what's going to happen in Illinois, are booming. And Pennsylvania is both a big state for both of these, great market. They both have good share there. So these companies are awesome. If you want the smart trade, this is what I've done. I don't have in my model portfolio a single share of Cresco. They're buying Origin House. Origin House deal will be voted on next week. I would say there's a 98% chance, and I'm being conservative, I think, that deal goes through. The shareholders already voted it through once overwhelmingly, and they changed the terms. It's going forward. Deal closes in January. You can buy Origin House at a huge discount to that deal implied by the price. This is not an efficient market. There's not, all these ARBs sitting there just on the sideline shorting Cresco, which is expensive to borrow anyway. So for real investors, this is a gift, I think, to be able to buy into Cresco using Origin as a proxy. So that's one area I like. And then for your Canadian listeners, the very largest LPs are not really at this moment in time the best investments, in my opinion. I already mentioned this problem with the U.S. and to the extent I think they're going to have to, face slow to no growth in their hemp strategy. But they're very complicated. They're losing a lot of money, all of them. And so without naming names on this one, I think you can look at some companies that are generating substantial sales that aren't quite as big as those. They've really been beaten up because all these companies had terrible September quarters due to some changes in the market up there, and they had to take back product or adjust prices from their monopoly buyers across the provinces. So that's another area. And then I continue to like the retailers in Canada as well.
Alan, one more here. Just at a high level, what do you want investors to know about the cannabis market in 2020?
Sure. So I'd say at a very high level, we've had over the last 7 years I've been following the market, most of these stocks have moved pretty much in unison. And sometimes you get some things like, well, maybe Canada's doing better than the US. But in general, everything has moved pretty much in line. And I would warn people that I always say, look at the balance sheet, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, but now it really, really matters. And we've already seen a few bankruptcies. We've seen some companies raise capital at atrocious levels. And there are some companies out there that are going to really struggle next year. And I think this is going to be to the benefit of the well-capitalized companies that are proving out their business models. This industry has really changed in terms of being able to attract more institutional type investors, mainly family offices, and they aren't going to fund these losers. And it's going to be, I've seen some really loser cannabis companies just take advantage over the last few years of being cannabis companies and getting high net worth individuals to write big checks. And, these are all wiped out now. So security selection is going to be primo in 2020.
All right. Alan Brochstein is the author of 420 Investor. He's the founding partner of New Cannabis Ventures. Alan, I would let you go, but I asked you yesterday if you wanted to hang out with us for a little bit and participate in our hot potato segment that we do on Fridays. Are you down?
I'm down.
All right. So here's how this is going to work. I've got Alan over here, and I've got Joel and Dennis over here. Joel and Dennis, you guys are going to be on your own team. It's you two against Alan. And the topic is, of course, cannabis.
This isn't fair. Advantage. I want a different topic. I think this topic is not fair. No. I feel like this is rigged against me.
But you got two of you. Come on.
Yeah, Joel. And Joel has so much knowledge here in the pot sector. And me as well. We're in trouble.
All right, no.
It'll be a victory if we get one right.
Okay, so here we go.
Oh, okay.
We're doing this.
I think I need some coffee for this.
Dennis, you're not dancing.
I'm dancing.
Okay,
there we go.
Let's start with
close the chats. Close the chats.
Joel and Dennis.
We need the chat. It should be everybody in the world versus Alan.
I don't want to cheat.
Joel and
All
Dennis.
right, no cheating.
So this is actually, I came up with this question 5 minutes ago. Alan said a few minutes ago, he said the letters MSO. What does MSO stand for?
Tough one.
This is just not. Are you throwing it to Alan?
No. No. Okay, I came up with that one at the last second because he just said it. This is
a fair question. You're not going to win, but we should say it. I shouldn't use those acronyms.
This is an educational thing. Yeah. What does MSO stand for?
No.
I'm guessing the M stands for marijuana. I have no idea.
I'll say,
Joel, I'm leaning on you on this
yeah,
one.
I have no idea.
All right, the answer.
Multi-source organization.
Oh,
Oh!
hey! Oh my
He was-
goodness, that's
he
a
was
good
close.
guess.
He was close.
What was it?
He was close. It's multi-state operator.
Oh!
Well, you got it. You got the multi right. He gets like a third of a point for that
He
one.
was close.
Joel, where'd you
That-
pull that out of? I am so
I'll tell you
impressed
what
with
to
you
pull
right
that
now.
out of. I'll tell you that right now. All right, go ahead.
All right, Alan.
Mhm.
According to my calculations, I tried to add this up. How many pure play pot stocks are there on the New York Stock Exchange and the Nasdaq?
Oh, okay. That's a fair question because I don't keep track of it per se. Just for clarification, when you say pure play, do you mean actually touching cannabis? Or
I don't mean like Constellation Brands, right?
Well, I was thinking more ancillary.
Oh yeah, okay. So
Like, does NBEV count?
No. I was thinking about things like IPR, the REIT.
yes, yeah. Well,
Are you talking about including those?
yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go with 21
This is just on the New York Stock Exchange or Nasdaq?
and the Nasdaq.
And the Nasdaq.
Oh, and Nasdaq. Okay, well that throws a whole wrench in the whole thing.
I think you could really debate what qualifies, by the way.
Okay.
Okay.
Joel, so the good news is he's thrown out 21. We can go 20 or 22 and we can beat him.
Exactly.
It's like Jeopardy. So do we want to go more or less?
First of all,
I'm going to go 20. What do you think? I think 21 I'm going with. So I'm going to take the under.
Wait, he said 21?
well, wait. So you're
Who's
both
wrong?
you're both wrong. According to my source here, the answer is 41.
Yeah, I don't
41.
agree. They're
41.
including some
You went
names
off
that
the
are not
board.
cannabis, but that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
he went
cool.
like NBEV and he went anything that touched cannabis with that.
All right.
Let's challenge that, Alan.
Back.
I'm going to
to
challenge that, but that's okay.
There.
You
Okay.
gonna throw a red
You
flag?
can challenge that. You can challenge that.
Yeah,
All right.
red
Roland
flag
Dennis. Roland Dennis.
All right, come on, Dennis.
There are 11 states in the U.S. where cannabis is still fully illegal. It is not illegal in any way. Which of these 4 states have not legalized cannabis in any way in the U.S.?
Oh, who
California-
hates cannabis?
Wait, it's multiple choice. California, Michigan, Texas, or South Dakota?
Well, you
It's
know
not
it's
Michigan.
not California, and you know it's not Michigan. So it's either
What are the other two? Texas and what are the other one?
it's South Dakota.
I think South Dakota.
Oh man,
Can you guys agree on something for once?
can we agree on something? I don't know. I think people smoke out in South Dakota, but
They might smoke
close
it.
to
Bro. There's people
Colorado.
that smoke it everywhere.
I'll go Texas.
Wait. You guys can't
All
divide.
right, South Dakota.
It's
Dennis,
South Dakota.
South
It is.
Dakota.
South Dakota.
Yeah, South Dakota
All
is
right.
right.
Yeah,
Yes, they got 'em.
boom. I'm all
Right.
over it.
On the board.
All right, they're
I got
on.
one.
They're on the board.
I like the multiple choice.
Okay, well, there's a couple more of those. Alan, what was the first cannabis stock to trade on a U.S. exchange?
On a U.S. exchange.
Yeah.
Kronos Group.
Yeah.
If you're talking
Oh, I'm
about
sorry, that was right. I ran it wrong.
No, he got it
No,
right. He buzzed,
you're
dude. He
right.
got it right.
No, he
That's
was right.
me.
He was right. My bad. Wrong buzzer. Okay.
He was just excited to buzz.
I was.
He's so
Okay.
used to buzzing me because I get everyone wrong. He just automatically hits the button when somebody answers.
Joel and Dennis. Earlier this year, there was some big legislation. It was a marijuana banking legislation that came out of Congress. What was the name of that
I know it.
act?
I know it. Safe Act.
That is correct.
Joel with the save. We're doing pretty good. We're
That's
doing
like a
pretty
normal question. I mean, it involves banks.
good. I wouldn't have got it.
Yeah, really? Okay.
No, I wouldn't have got
Yep.
it. No.
Okay, let's go through my list here. All right, Alan. Last week, a company called RecShares launched 2 new cannabis ETNs, right? Not ETFs, they're ETNs, or similar but different. What unique characteristics do these 2 new ETNs have?
You know, I didn't pay that much attention. I saw it. I'm going to go with leverage.
Oh, he didn't pay attention and he still got it right.
Oh,
you
this guy
crazy.
knows his pot
They
stocks.
use leverage.
This
yeah.
guy knows cannabis.
This guy.
2 times leverage.
Oh,
Okay.
this guy's unbelievable. We'll
Oh,
never
yeah.
beat this guy.
We knew we were done as soon as we were.
By the way, I have not been keeping score. so-
We're toast.
I don't know if he's got one wrong yet, but
Yeah.
oh yeah, he got the 22 wrong.
Joel and Dennis, there are 7
Uh-huh.
marijuana ETFs.
Seven.
Can you name the tickers for 2 of them?
Oh,
MJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the easy one.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one I trade all the time. We get
Right.
off the board on these other ones. Oh, Tim Seymour's got one. Tim Seymour's got one. What's Tim Seymour's ticker
And you
though?
get the ticker.
MJ. I'm gonna go.
Oh, is it?
MJNA? Is that
Yeah.
one?
That is not correct.
I would. Is it? There's got to be one POT.
No.
This should be. Who's
close.
getting the P? That was potash before. Somebody should be all over
P-
that.
Brent
I think
would crush
POT
this one.
POT is already taken.
Can I
Tim
call a
Seymour's
friend?
got one.
Can I call
What's
a
Tim
friend?
Seymour's ticker though?
You guys can't guess. Like,
Can I call a friend?
No, Alan. Can you just
We're
name?
calling Alan. Alan's our friend.
So there's a bunch of them. There's HMMJ that trades in Toronto, but if you mean just in the US, I'll go
Yeah.
with THCX.
Yes,
I
THCX.
knew I did.
I would have also accepted YOLO, CNBS. That's Tim Seymour's. Toke.
CNBS. There you are.
Oh,
Tim, we're
For
trying
your
to give you love
listeners,
there.
just disregard all of these. They're all
We like
Well-
Tim Seymour though. But
well,
I'm
nothing
sorry,
against
Tim. Your
Tim, but there's
ETF's
no
not doing
reason to
well.
buy these.
So the bonus question for Joel and Dennis: which of those has the highest assets or the most assets under management?
MJ.
Gotta be MJ.
Yes, that was an easy one. You guys.
MJ's liquid. Like I trade MJ probably quite a bit. I use it as a hedge against if I've got marijuana stocks on. So I trade MJ quite a bit. I like it.
I only have one more actually, and it's for Alan. Alan, what is the pod stock with the highest market cap?
Canopy growth.
Canopy Growth. That is the answer. And with
He
that,
knows his pot
that
stocks.
concludes. I think Alan got all of them right, and
Yeah.
he.
I didn't get the number that you tracked
Well,
for the.
That
one
was a tough question.
That one's up for debate, I think, depending on how you want to.
That was
Yeah,
fun.
so actually Spencer, the host, was wrong on that one. So Alan was right.
Look, Dennis, you got a few right this week, so
We
I'm
did.
proud of you.
South
You guys have a
Dakota.
great-
Joel
New
pulled a
Year.
safe fact out of his hat. We did okay.
Yeah, and except for the ETF one, I think, but
That
We were
was fun.
close on the ETF one.
you
I
guys
knew
were-
MJ.
I'm going to give you a secret. Just subscribe to our Sunday newsletter at New Cannabis Ventures, and you guys will know everything you need to know.
That's what we need to do.
And-
Let's go. Let's go subscribe.
And you guys also didn't get multi-state operator. That's some key industry.
That was
industry
close. That was
jargon.
tough. Yeah.
Joel with the multi coming out though.
Yeah,
What
that
did you
was-
say, Joel?
Source organization.
Source organization.
Multi-source organization.
Very
Oh,
close.
that's close.
All right, Alan Brochstein is the author of 420 Investor, as I mentioned, founding partner of New Cannabis Ventures. Alan, if we don't talk to you, have a great rest of your New Year. Have a happy New Year.
Yeah, you too. Catch you in 2020. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Alan.
All right, see, that wasn't so bad.
You good?
You guys were.
We
you
were
guys were so
scared.
nervous. It
I
wasn't
was so
bad.
scared. I even tweeted it out. I was scared. I was like, I don't have a chance.
All right, are we gonna grab Raz here for
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tesla?
Let me go do that. You guys go
Okay.
talk amongst yourselves.
We got to get Raz doing hot potato once. He'd be good. At this.
He'd get nervous. Okay.
Holy Tesla. Raz must be buying right now. It's up another $5.
Yeah, let's talk.
420 on the radar. Joel,
It's
the question
official.
is not if it hits 420, when.
Yes, yeah. I officially lost my bet to Jeremy.
You
Which
cannot bet against Elon
Yeah.
Musk.
Yeah, I thought it would fill that gap, but apparently it's decided not to.
I
fill
was on Jeremy's side, but I never took him.
I know,
I didn't even
I
win
know.
a dinner on it. I've been
It
bullish
was,
stock
it
forever.
wasn't
and
a
I didn't
dinner.
make
It was a
money on
lunch. Because you're upgrading me to a steak dinner. It was a lunch. I owe him a lunch. A lunch.
All
A
right.
lunch. Let's see here. Trading at
You gonna
409.70.
buy him a Happy Meal?
I'm sorry.
You buying him a Happy Meal?
He offered a buyout. I said a bag of chips, but he hung out for the entire lunch.
So you
No,
got the entire lunch on.
we'll
you.
find some good some place to go in Nashville. Next time I go there, trading at the highs of the pre-market session. I just think everyone's just gonna wait. 411 is your
Holy
pre-market high.
mackerel! It goes up $10 every day.
Well, went up 20 one day.
Oh, it wasn't even enough. So it goes up 10 at a minimum and 20 on the good days.
Yeah.
This
And-
stock, since it started just turning again, since we had, what we could call it, broken window gate. Since we had broken window gate, it has been up, and again, obviously rounded bottom. But once it started to turn around and poke its head back above 340, it has been up $10 and then $5. It's made a new high every single day. I think every single day. Maybe there's a little candle it didn't in there. No, every single day it's made a new high, and it's just in full like upside capitulation mode right now here. It looks like it wants to go to 420.
And Remember when the Brentster, he thought they did it on purpose to boost the stock, the
I
crash?
guess they did.
But
Well, I
man,
guess then it worked if
Should've
they was
cracked
on
down
No,
with
purpose.
no, he wasn't saying they did it to boost the stock. He said they did it to get free press. That's what he was saying. They're not trying to. A broken window is not going to boost the company's stock price, but they got some free press over that. I am unable to locate our
You're kidding
CEO,
me.
Jason Razak.
What do you mean?
He's gone. I don't
He's
know.
hiding.
Hold on, let me see if I can find.
He's not in
Raz, where are you?
he wanders off sometimes. We have a leash for him. We
He's a
got
wanderer.
to sort of pull him back. But
Yeah.
he was around an hour or two ago, and he is not around.
My 2-year-old wanders too. So maybe he's still got the
So
2-year-old
you know what
complex
that's
of
like.
wandering.
You know what that's like. Well, at
Yeah.
some point in the next few days, we'll get Jason on the show.
All right.
Talk Tesla with us because trust me, Dennis, he really wants to.
Uh-oh.
He was bugging us this morning, so he really wants to. So we're
Props to Jason Raznick, who's been bullish the whole time, even when everybody hated it and was saying it was a zero when it went under $200. Jason Raznick was still bullish.
Right. All right.
When Jason says sell, then I'm selling, or then I'm selling it short. When he says sell,
we can't locate him. I guess I'm just gonna have to wrap our show up. So I want to thank our guest Alan Brochstein today. Thanks to all of you in our chats, both on YouTube and premarket.benzinga.com. Catch our podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, or rewatch our show on youtube.com/Benzinga TV. As always, please remember that all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes only and not for investing or trading advice. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Have a good weekend as well. We'll be back with you well rested on Monday morning.